Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you everyone who has come out. This is the third annual Youth Speak Out, and before we start with our presentation, I would like to introduce Mayor Brant Walker. He's going to say a few words.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And again, I'd like to welcome you all to the third annual Alton Youth Speak Out. And again, I really want to thank all the guests that are here today. I think this is very important that our youth be heard, especially in our high schools, as they get ready to exit high school and go on to college or into our workforce or become very active members in our community. I think it's important that they be heard, and I know everyone's time is precious, so again, thank you all for attending this event. Now, the Youth Speak Out encourages our young kids to talk about things that impact them as well as impact the Alton community. So they'll talk about things like, I think the last one was bullying, substance abuse. I heard they're going to talk about maybe different stresses that kids their age deal with right now, and maybe how maybe we can help them and we work together to overcome some of these things, because it does impact our school and that heavily impacts our community. So first I'd like to introduce the students that will be speaking today, and these are the young leaders and our community advocates for positive change in our community. So as I call your name, could you guys please come up, or men and young ladies please come up. Jess Borman, Allison Barble, Sarah Spahn, Kelsey Brantley, Miller Weissman, Hazel Denother, Ethan Ferris, Letitia Carruthers, Dejay Robinson. Okay. Again, a special thanks to you for all participating in this. I know this isn't easy. Public speaking is not easy. So congratulations on having the courage to come up and speak about what impacts you and your other fellow students. So thank you very much for having it here, and thank you very much for participating.
Hello, my name is Amanda Arment, and I have had the wonderful opportunity to work with these students throughout this year as the Power of Peers sponsor. I would also like to start by thanking you all today for coming out and showing your support. The students up here are incredibly passionate about the future of our community, and they want to work with you guys to make their dreams a reality when it comes to Alton. They have been working so hard over the past few weeks on this presentation, and I could not be prouder of them for all they have accomplished in this short amount of time. They are here to discuss several issues that students themselves have identified as major community problems: substance abuse and underage drinking, the stress our students feel today, and the need for improved community venues. Our presenters will explain the issues from the student perspective, and ultimately they will propose their ideas for change. We ask that you save any questions or comments that you have until the end of the presentation. If you look in your folder, there is a pen or pencil and some note cards. Please, if you have any questions at any time, just write those down. Someone will be coming around to collect those throughout the presentation. Time permitting, the students will address your questions at the very end. We are going to begin by playing several student interviews, which were conducted anonymously, and they offer the student perspective on the issues we will be discussing today.
What have you noticed about yourself when you were stressed?
I would eat a lot.
How do you usually cope with stress?
I either read or watch some TV.
How do your personal relationships, romantic, friendship, or otherwise, add to your stress?
A lot of drama with people, you know what I'm saying?
How has stress impacted your social and school lives?
I have anxiety, so when I'm around certain people, I get very nervous and stuff like that.
How does stress impact how you act towards others?
I'm more like shy, I guess.
Do you think stress is a contributing factor in teens' choices about drugs and alcohol?
Definitely, yeah.
About how many of your peers do you think abuse substances, if you had to give a percent?
Like 7%.
How has peer pressure influenced your choices about drugs and alcohol?
Because you feel obligated to do it. So,
How do you personally feel about drugs and alcohol in our community?
I think that a lot of people do it. I don't think it's necessarily right, but a lot of people do it. So,
Do you think that the community is doing enough to prevent the abuse of controlled substances and alcohol?
kind of. It's kind of there, but people gonna do what they want to do anyway, even if you try. So,
How many of your peers do you think abuse substances if you had to give a percent?
50% of our school.
How has peer pressure influenced your choices about drugs and alcohol?
Oh, that'd be a hard one because it makes you want to do it, but then you don't want to. I would say it does.
How do you personally feel about drugs and alcohol in our community?
I would say it's not really good, but I feel like it's a lot of it goes on.
Do you think that stress is a contributing factor in teens' choices about drugs and alcohol?
Yes, completely. They use they use drugs to try to get rid of the stress, and they try to get rid of it. And they go to drugs and alcohol for a choice.
Do you think that the community is doing enough to prevent the abuse of controlled substances and alcohol?
No.
Do you have any ideas of what they could do better?
Oh my God. Really I don't. That's a good one. I'd have to think about that for a while.
How many of your peers do you think abuse substances?
About 40%. I mean, the other day on the bus, some kid had pot, so why not?
What have you noticed about yourself when you are stressed?
That I get emotional.
How do you usually cope with stress?
Music.
How do your personal relationships, friendships, or otherwise add to your stress?
Well, I feel like I always have to talk to a certain person or make them happy.
How does stress impact how you act towards others?
I get angry, very angry.
Do you think that stress is a contributing factor in teens' choices about drugs and alcohol?
Yes.
About how many of your peers do you think abuse substances?
Almost all of them.
If you had to give a percent, what would it be?
About 90%.
How do you personally feel about drugs and alcohol in our community?
Drugs, I just wish they would go away, but alcohol, like there's a certain point, like maybe a few drinks, but at our age, no, just don't do it.
How has peer pressure influenced your choices about drugs and alcohol?
Well, peer pressure definitely makes me want to do it, but then I'm like, no, I'm a good kid.
Do you think that the community is doing enough to prevent the abuse of controlled substances and alcohol?
No.
Thank you, guys. I apologize for all the background noise going on in those interviews. They were conducted at school, so please excuse that. And Jess is going to come back up here and get us started. Thank you again.
Hello again. Can you go ahead and go to the next slide? Thank you. So, as you're sitting in the audience, watching this group of teenagers talk to you, you might wonder who we are. We are the Alton High School Power of Peers, and basically we're a group of Alton High students who have come together to help educate and prevent drug use. Our students in our group range from freshmen to seniors. Many of our students were chosen by their teachers to join the group by recommendation. And students show characteristics of teamwork, compassion, and a helping hand. Our main goal is to educate our peers about the effects of underage drinking and illegal drug use, and to work together with the community to establish a new norm that does not include underage drinking and illegal drug use. And to talk about drugs and alcohol in the home and car is Allison Barble, Sarah Spond, Kelsey Brantley, and Miller Weisman.
What are the problems? Teens think that drinking is cool and okay, not knowing what to do or say when friends are doing drugs. Teens know that drugs and alcohol are capable of destroying them, but do not believe they can happen to them. Teens think that since they hear about everyone doing it, that it's okay. Teens are afraid of what their peers will think if they don't drink with them or do drugs with them. Over the course of the years, teen drinking has gone down in Illinois. In 1990, 802 alcohol-related crashes happened. However, in 2013, only 389 alcohol-related crashes occurred. Nationally, in 1990, there was one fatality every 24 minutes. In 2014, there was one fatality every 52 minutes.
Access to underage drinking. How do they get it? From parties, older friends, or from their parents' liquor cabinets? Why do they get it? Makes them feel mature or good, peer pressure to fit in. Access to illegal substances. How do they get it? From friends or from acquaintances or strangers? Why? To be cool feels like it's a release from stress.
The effects of underage drinking and alcohol on relationships. It causes trust issues and unnecessary stress, and also causes more fights between spouses and or friends. The effects of drug and alcohol usage on teens. It causes high blood pressure, weakens heart muscles, disorients you, harms your liver, and you're more likely to become an alcoholic. It also slows your brain growth, raises chances of academic failure, and makes you suffer from shock pains. Annually, about 4,700 people under age 21 die from injuries involving underage drinking.
You may ask, how can we prevent the usage of alcohol and drugs in our community? And stuff we can do is store clerks need to check IDs more when they're selling alcohol to anyone. They need to be more cautious when they're selling to make sure that the person is not underage or using a fake ID. And Alton should get a text line for reporting underage, like parties, drinking, where they're using like drugs or stuff. They have a call line, but they don't have a text line. And mandatory drug or alcohol tests should be concluded when you're getting your license or your permit. And next, we're going to be introducing Stress in the Classroom by Jess Borman, Hazel Denother, and yeah.
Studies show that there is a considerable amount of stress in the classroom, affecting students' academic performance. A survey was conducted in 2014 and found that 30% of teens felt sad and depressed due to stress. Another 36% of teens said that they felt overwhelmed by their workload. 23% said that they had even skipped meals because of the stress. What could be causing this extra stress? Make or break testing methods that begin as early as middle school. Many students feel stressed from the pressure they are put under to excel in academic activities, such as keeping a high GPA or staying in honors classes. The prospect of college may also be causing more stress for students, and test anxiety is a type of performance anxiety which causes students to feel immense fear and anxiety while taking a test.
What are the common signs of stress? Students who have exceeded in academic activities may have a complete breakdown if they did not perform as well as they would have liked on either a test or a worksheet or something like that. A student may feel stuck under pressure, like they can't go forward, they can't go backward, it's just there and they don't know how to get it off them. And some students may feel ill, which in turn will make them not want to work because they don't feel well, which in turn stresses them out more. And I can tell you from personal experience that all of those things have happened to me, and my mother can attest for that, and it's not fun. And what can we do? How can the community help? One of the ideas that we came up with was a free open study space for students. There are study rooms at the library, but as far as I know, you have to reserve them in advance, which kind of defeats the purpose. Maybe offer free or low-cost exercise options for stress relief. There are a lot of gyms around here and a lot of places to do yoga, but they are expensive. Like somebody said Nautilus was like 20, 50 bucks a month. That's 20 or 50 bucks that we as students don't have. So we can't go let off steam because we can't afford it. So we were thinking maybe a free or low-cost $5 yoga class, a cardio class, or maybe a dance class, or other community-sponsored stress relief events such as a book club or like a coloring or art therapy club. And I use both of those to lessen my stress a little bit. And there's our sources. So we didn't actually make up our facts. We got them from scientific studies. And next to present on the need for improved community venues are Deja Robinson and Leticia Carruthers.
What are some of the problems in the community that we have? Some people in the community are not involved as much as they should be. There's not enough advertising for some of the events that goes on in Alton. There's not enough activities in the community for all age levels, mostly teens. There are no social events or activities for teens. Most people do not know what to do after they have done drugs. For example, they won't know what to do, like if they had an overdose or if they were in the hospital, they don't know where to go from there. And Rock Springs Park at the time is not a very family-friendly place. How can we fix these problems? We can have Alton Telegraph build some kind of radio station to advertise some of the events that goes on. We can have Alton's Labor Union build a team group to help with the Rock Springs 2020 project. And we can have Alton School Board set up a team building for Alton High for all the grade levels. And we can also have Alton High students or churches have indoor concerts at Jacoby's Art Center or at the Alton Amphitheater. Also, we can have more events at Gordon Park, and we can advertise more events at the Jacoby's Art Center.
Parks in the area that could cater to teens, such as Rock Springs Park and Gilmer Park. In Rock Springs Park, we have Rock Springs Park 2020 is in motion. The project focuses on revamping the park, we're trying to create a more friendly, family-friendly environment by the year of 2020. Rock Springs Park may be a perfect venue for events in the area. If teens participate in volunteer work, their personal lives will see growth. In Gilmer Park, Gilmer Park was created to build something good in the community, but could use more energy. It is currently expanding its landscape. We should have concerts, but that benefit teens for like sporting events and contemporary concerts possibly held by musicians from the community. More teen involvement. We need more community teen activities. RiverBend should host at different places for teens. Have more concerts and get-togethers at Alton Amphitheater. having teen media such as radio stations, advertise with or for teens such as journalism class projects. How to make this happen? Make posters to encourage teens to be involved with the community more. Encourage teens 14 through 18 to branch out more and even help with the community.
For coming out and supporting our community. And we would like to thank the Salvation Army and RiverBend.
Thank you, guys. Good job. Okay, so far we have just 2 questions. So at this time we have plenty of time for audience comments. It doesn't necessarily have to be a question or things that maybe you heard during the presentation but would like a little bit more expansion on. This would be the great time to address the students and answer a question on those things. Okay, so this will be a question for this would be a question for, I believe, Chief Simmons. This is from the audience. What is Alton doing to get the text line in place, if anything, at this moment? Or is this something brand new?
Just not only a text line, actually the city is working with text in general. How do we handle the new, which is basically a new form of communication. One of the things we struggle with text, because we have city phones, we ban texting because we don't have a way to store the text, which we're trying to, because once you create a public document, you have to store it for infinity, basically. The phone companies can't come up with a way to store text maybe more than 3 months. If we create a public document, we have to hold it for years and years. So we're in the process of how to deal with that. And currently, we don't allow texting on our cell phones because we don't have the storage capacity to store that information to make it voidable. So that's something we are just now starting to engage in and discuss how do we communicate in this new format for governance. I think it's a great idea. We just have got to figure out a way to manage that data effectively and cost consciously. So I think it's a great idea. It's just hard to manage it.
I believe that the Sheriff's Department just started a texting tip line, but I don't believe they've marketed it yet because they're trying to figure out all of the ins and outs. So it just might be a good connection. I'm not sure how they plan to manage it.
It's a great idea. It's the storage of all the information that comes in for years and years and years. It's a challenge.
Okay, so this will be for our students. Okay, so this would be a question for our students and then anyone in the audience that would like to comment. If the community is not currently doing enough about drugs and alcohol, what would be an effective addition in your opinion? So do we have this, Sarah, would you like to say?
I think the text line that you guys are working on is a great addition to help with that, because if you don't feel, because if you're a party that you were invited to and you like step away to call somebody, there's not really an excuse for that. You can't be like, oh, I gotta call my mom and then like go off somewhere because I can hear you. But if you just like shoot a text or maybe like an email, then that would be more discreet and it would help more people come out in the open with the parties and stuff.
Anybody else have any other ideas on what the community can do more to prevent underage drinking and alcohol use? Okay, that's good.
I think an effective addition would maybe be like the radio station, because like we have 104.1 and everybody really listens to that. So they should kind of like motivate them to say something about not doing drugs and help people out.
So maybe better education through these popular outlets that students are listening to. That's a good idea. Yes, Larry?
I just had a thought about this texting thing, which I'm just new into that, you know that. You know, if at the present time, if the city of Alton is kind of bogged down in bureaucratic red tape, what about if the Drug-Free Alton Coalition would have someone that could receive the text and then maybe pass them or, you know, whatever, just to get something started, you know what I mean, just as a jumping off place? Would that be feasible, or would that be possible?
I'm not sure, honestly, at this point, but it's something that we can discuss further, though. I mean, I'm not sure how that would work, but we can have discussion about, yeah, that's a good comment, thank you. Other audience comments? Yes.
Yeah, my name is Mike Haynes. I'm the Alton Park and Rec Director. One of the problems that I've kind of identified is a lot of teens and, you know, like middle school age kids can't really necessarily make it out to Gordon Moore Park because it's not really in town. It's not accessible if you guys don't have cars or whatever. So we're trying to, the thought is to bring some of these in-town parks more up to like Rock Springs and Northside Park. We're wanting to revamp them. We're in the planning stages of building new athletic fields there, as far as softball fields and possibly soccer fields. Now, that is something that we would love to bring teens into, as far as like, you know, helping to create those fields. We're gonna, obviously, you know, the city is a little strapped on budget, and we could always use volunteers and helpers, and I think those would be good community projects for teens to get involved in, and especially it's right in a lot of your backyards instead of having to get out and go all the way out to Gordon Moore. You know, that's a thought that I have.
We would love to volunteer and help out with that. We think that it would be lovely to have nicer parks in the city that people could easily have access to.
Yeah, and along with that, you know, also we have like yoga classes for adults and, you know, older people that get involved, but we don't necessarily have teen yoga classes or cardio classes. Those types of things are great ideas. It's just we, you know, talking, and it sounds to me like you guys are interested in that kind of stuff. Is that something that you would be interested in doing? Like, what I'm trying to say is, are those outdoor activities that I could help with, or are you wanting to go to the gym like everyone else and have more affordable classes at the gym? Because unfortunately we don't have an indoor, you know, like basketball gym or whatever, but we could make outdoor stuff available like that to teens.
It's funny because we didn't actually think about doing outdoor classes, so that would be a really cool idea to be able to, you know, just do yoga or cardio out in the park. That would be really, really nice. We didn't actually think about that.
Especially in the summer when you guys aren't in school.
Yeah.
You know, it could be a daytime thing.
Yeah. So. You know, get some fresh air in your lungs.
Right.
That, yeah.
All right.
I have a comment.
Okay, sorry. I think my one missing link that we have here is we have a lot of students that would be interested in whoops, sorry about that. We have a lot of students that would be interested in volunteering. We really, I think what we're looking for from a community perspective is a liaison or maybe a staff person that can take and help coordinate that volunteer list. Because I think that we can build a strong base of high school volunteers, but we need that specific community person that they can liaison with so that they have that point of contact. I feel like that's what we're missing, right? Do you guys, is that what we're discussing? Okay. Yes, Edith.
When we have Greg, a comment from upstairs.
We'll have Greg next. Go ahead.
My name's Greg Gilson. Apologies, I'm working on your pizzas. They'll be down in just a moment. But I chair the Rock Spring 2020 initiative, and so we meet the first Monday of every month at 7 o'clock, right in Upper Alton at Main Street United Methodist Church. So you would be welcome and strongly encouraged to attend whenever you wish, sooner rather than later, as far as I'm concerned. Also, in talking about kind of bringing the community together, some faith initiatives, as well as something tied to music, we will have the 2nd annual Pie Town Gospel Music Festival the last Friday and Saturday in July. Plans are in the works for that at this time, and your input and involvement would also be very welcome. There can be certainly youth and teen components to that. We just need you to be engaged and get involved with us, for sure.
Oh, that would be wonderful. I went to the Gospel Music Festival last year. It was so much fun. It was a lot of fun. Eva, go ahead.
Eva Perkins. I'd just like to say that Jacoby's Art Center, they have a new board of directors, and they will be needing volunteers. I think on one night, they also have yoga, and you can pay for whatever you want.
That's nice.
Yeah.
We didn't know about that.
Yes, and then the Y would be a good place to go to have study groups. Contact Andrea, I don't know,
Andrea, yeah, I know Andrea.
Andrea, and ask her about if you can come down maybe once or twice a week to have your study classes. They'll be welcome to help you.
We had no idea about this stuff.
I have ideas of how they can better, I know we mentioned the radio stations, which is a good idea. How can we better get this information to the mass student body that we're trying to really impact? But I think that's also our missing link, is the lack of coordination, but lack of also us being able to communicate. Does anybody have any ideas from our panel? Give them some ideas back here. Sarah?
Maybe like if you have like an event that you want to reach students, maybe you could go through the school and have them send a mass email to all the schools. Because I know Alton High, we all have our student emails, and we're supposed to check them all the time because our teachers send. We're supposed to. So I mean, we should get them and like run it by the school and say, hey, can I send this mass email about the study group? It could help your students, and then like we would get it through the email, and we'd see it, and be like, oh, the school, and we'd show up.
So that's a good idea. Do you guys have any comments over here? Does anybody have any comments?
Mayor Walker has a comment or question.
Jim, you have a question or comment?
Did you have something? Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to let you guys, you may or may not be aware of it, we already have a very good working relationship with Dr. Diver. We're working with some kids through programs he has to get service hours through the city, and we're working very well with Alton High School through Dr. Tapin. So my office has been the point contact between the high school and the city. We coordinated with the football team last year on a big cleanup, and we're also working very well, and I apologize, I forgot the teacher's name in the building trades. And the Alton High School came out and redid the bathroom at Killian Park or Salute Park. So if you have a group, we already have a point contact through Dr. Tapin. Just call me if you guys put something together. We're already working on the school district project. So if you have something you want to do, get a hold of the principal, we're ready.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cool.
I was just wondering if it could be arranged to get Gordon Moore Park on the Madison County Transit bus route. We go everywhere else, why couldn't we go there too?
Good point. The gentleman from the park department, my name's Larry Hatfield. I just had a flash here. I don't know, it seemed like there's always a group of young people want to skateboard and have some kind of competition. If we can set up some kind of area for that might give them some place to go.
Yeah.
Instead of going down to the street or something, you know?
Right. Yeah, and you're not supposed to just like rollerblade or skateboard in the middle of the street, you know, even in the parks or in the parking lot. But if there is an interest there, I'd definitely be interested in blocking off a parking lot or whatever.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
For certain nights, certain days, whatever. Yeah, I mean, I'm all for it. And we do have a skate park at Hell Run, but but it, you know.
Does it need, or I'd buy their lawn, does it need some additional work or?
No, it's really in pretty good shape.
It's a real nice park. Yeah.
We're looking into, I think.
Yeah. I like your idea about the bus though, I mean, because it doesn't go there right now.
It can go everywhere.
Right.
I've had friends that have children play soccer. I've seen hundreds of people out there.
Right.
Just recently,
Walmart's bus will take you there.
just recently, there was balling with the police department up at the YWCA. They have a gym.
They do have a gym. Yeah, it's a pretty nice gym. I've been in there many times. John.
If I can add a couple things, John Hentrick from RiverBender. A lot of communication sounds like the issue of there's things going on, but it's hard sometimes to communicate it to the students because social media is so crowded, or the activities or the announcements that go on at school are crowded with all kinds of other things. But I wanted to make sure you knew Matt Contarino, who's new at RiverBender, has passed out our monthly flyer. This Friday we have a paintball thing going on here in the back parking lot. Next week we have a Pinterest party happening down here. Every Friday we're open from 6 to 10. There's always some kind of new activity happening. You mentioned yoga. There's going to be rooftop yoga on the top of the community center here. That's going to start up within probably the next month. So keep an eye on the Facebook page and some of those different things so that you're aware of those activities. And the other thing you mentioned, radio station. I know the school has a station of its own. Students may or may not be listening. I'm not up to date on that, but I will tell you that we have a station down in the basement that is not utilized any longer. And if you are interested in starting a teen radio station that is strictly streaming your music and your announcements all day long, we would be happy to help spearhead that. We need obviously your help, but I do have some resources that would allow us to get that going if it's something you want to do. The studio is a beautiful studio downstairs, and we'd love to get that rolling if it's something that you want to do.
Yeah, the Alton High radio. Sorry, Mom. The Alton High radio station. There is an Alton High radio station, but you have to access it only through HD radio.
Of course, is it streaming as well on your phones?
No. No, you can only get it through HD radio, and not a lot of people have that.
Yeah, it's pretty. So, that's a challenge for sure.
I've been on that radio station, but nobody knew about it.
The station that I would propose would be something that you could listen to on your phones all day, or your through streaming.
Cool. Yeah. Okay, Mom.
Could this be something? I know it's near the end of the year, but maybe starting next year, could like a bundle of these be sent to Alton High?
They are currently distributed through the middle school and online. We would be happy to make enough copies to go through the high school, or make larger posters and post them in the walls throughout. There's a high school rate. You don't have to have a membership anymore if you're in high school now and you are able to get in for the $5. So no members required once you graduate from middle school. And there are plenty of activities on Fridays now that are geared for all ages. We had remote control car racing last week, I think, or the week before. We've had big inflatables in here for our lock-ins. There's a lot of different things happening. So if you haven't checked it out for a while, and there's plenty of volunteer opportunities. Once you graduate to high school and you want to get involved, the rooftop garden has some gardening opportunities, some construction opportunities, and other things like that to do. So we'd appreciate anything you want to work on there.
All right. Okay, Mom.
I think kids, going back to drinking and drugs, I think kids, once they hit 18, think their brain has finished growing.
Did you ask this question?
True. Yes, that's.
Oh my God.
That's
my
question. So,
that's my mom.
How? I I think it goes like to 24, I'm not sure.
It's mid-20s when the adult brain stops developing. So when consuming, harmful drugs and alcohol, it does, quote unquote, stunt brain growth.
Okay.
So, and that's not
I don't think a lot of kids realize that. They think once they get 18, they're adult. And
From my personal experience, because we are told that in our health classes, they do know that, and they choose to ignore it. Because I've known that since, when I took health, they were like, the brain stopped growing at 25, and we're like, okay. But, if they want to do it, they're going to ignore the facts and just say, I want to do it because I want to. So.
I think our biggest, which is really why we're here today, because of the time of brain development that a young person is in, they do tend to be impulsive, and they are in that time of their life where they think nothing is going to happen to them, and and we can do a better job of educating them for sure. However, I think one of the biggest chances that we have is to change our community's norm and the way as a society we think about alcohol and illicit drug use, especially for young people. So I think that's really what they're asking today is, by helping people while they're young understand how to cope with stress, anxiety, unidentified maybe mental health issues, taking the stigma down with that, because we all deal with stress and anxiety and need some good healthy coping skills. So as a community, if we're saying, that's the point of saying, well, we need more yoga, we need more classes that appeal to the mass students or more opportunities. It's not really just so that students can have fun and enjoy themselves, but truly so that they can say, you know what, I understand now that I am stressed and that maybe I would have turned to using a substance to alleviate that stress, but now I know that as a society we value that we're going to go and take an art class at the art center, and they're making that accessible for us. It's free or it's very low cost, or I'm going to go do an exercise class. Same thing with our compliance checks. We do a great job in this community of doing compliance checks for underage drinking, and that helps our community understand that it's not okay to sell alcohol to minors, and that we believe in that as a community here in this town. So it's not really about punitive that we want to penalize somebody or not have the alcohol industry in our community, but it's just to say that we want you to serve responsibly to adults. And so setting up that as a norm in our community is one way that we can help that. Yes?
As you talked a lot about the parks, and this administration has been very committed. We've been blessed to have Michael. He's brought on a lot of new programs. He's brought a lot of energy to the park, and I think it's already shown with waterfalls, sidewalks, ball diamonds being rebuilt, the commitment back to the parks, like you said, to restore a sense of community instead of one park. We're a city in many communities and many parks, and Mike's done great. We do have, and I'll go ahead and reach out right now, we do have a retirement coming on the park board. I would like to see one of the youth, if they're interested, come talk to me about being appointed to that position.
Hi, my name is Benjamin Ghali. I'm the chairman for the Community Relations Commission appointed by the mayor of Alton. Would like to invite you guys, we have our meeting the second Sunday of every month at City Hall. Starts at 3 o'clock. One thing we did recently, we partnered with Principia College. They came to the high school and got other students, and they named themselves the Game Changers. They have a performance this Sunday, the 24th, at Jacoby's Art Center called This Is Our Story. And a lot of the issues that they're dealing with in this story that they created has a lot to do with some of the things that you guys have been talking about. So I would encourage you guys to come see that event Sunday. It's at 3 o'clock to 5, and it's free. Would love for you guys to come to our meetings and give us some of your ideas, build those relationships, because a lot of times we get things accomplished when we build those relationships and we get comfortable working with individuals. So we would love to start that as a Community Relations Commission with you guys as well.
Okay, before we move on, can we say one thing? I'm sorry, Deja, would you over? We had a comment from here.
For the advertising, We can have the school district like have a link, and they can list some of the some of the events that's going on, so some of the high school students can get to that and find out what's going on in the community.
Because it'd be great to have like one place to have all of this house where if there's an activity going on that your group or an open invite to groups, that there could be one place where every student at the school, because we have more students that I think would be really interested in this. It's just difficult to reach all of the students to bring them on. So I think that was a great idea from our group here to have just one place that's provided by the district where they can get this information out, and then other ways that we can, the city can say, I have an open call for this kind of position. It'd be nice if we could have that partnership with the district specifically, which I think maybe we can work on together.
Yeah, we're really trying to reach out with the school districts, the community relations.
Oh, that's great.
Through the parks, through maybe a position on a committee in the city.
That's great.
Get started.
It's exciting. We'll take one more comment here, and then we'll start with lunch so that we can kind of mingle, but get lunch in too.
Okay, Mom. Now, this may be more geared towards her or one of the police officers. The heroin epidemic.
I was just about to talk about that. Oh.
How is, we have the same brain.
I know.
Is it more prevalent here than other areas, or is it less, or is it increasing, decreasing? What's happening?
I'll leave it open if anybody, Chief or anybody would like to comment first.
It's a nationwide epidemic. Unfortunately, Madison County is really getting hit hard. The Walton had several heroin deaths last year, but a lot of it is we have got to get information from the public about heroin houses or people that are selling heroin, and unfortunately, a lot of people just don't want to reach out and contact the police department to report those incidents. But if the people in the community reach out and start telling us about these houses, then we attack them, and we can solve a lot of the problems that are out there. But yes, heroin is a big problem. From the seminars that I've attended, you do it one time, you're hooked. Most of the heroin that we see is coming from across the river, and we have a bridge that doesn't stop those drug dealers from coming over across into our city, but we're doing what we can.
And I will say there is a, really quickly before we adjourn for lunch, there's a task force that's a countywide task force working to try to address these issues that many of us here are a part of in different ways. And it's working at really trying to take a holistic approach from education through enforcement, the justice system. And so really looking at reforming some of that, and I can give anybody that would be interested in information on that specifically. But from our perspective and from really a preventative perspective, we are doing a lot, I feel like, as a coalition and as a community to prevent prescription drug use, which is often a precursor to that. And so we do have a drop box that's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, where people can drop off unwanted or unused medication. Our coalition does offer free locking caps, so if you have medication that you need to keep in your home, but you'd like to have it locked up, that's a service that we would be happy to provide to you. And you can contact me. I actually have them at the police department in the office there, but you can contact me specifically, and I'll be happy to give out that information here at the end. So we're really working on that. And then we also have what we call a parent guide that I'm hoping we can get downloaded with the district that really helps parents understand the warning signs of prescription drug abuse or drug abuse in general.
And it's in their folder.
And actually that guide is in your folder. As you can see it, it's a whole parent packet. And we're hoping to get that downloadable on the website so that it can reach more parents. Because what we're hearing from parents of heroin addicts is they're so disheartened because when they get finally to that point, they say the signs and symptoms were all there. We just didn't understand them. We didn't recognize them, which is really, really heartbreaking because oftentimes it can be passed off as something else that's going on in a young person's life. So we're not recognizing those signs and symptoms early enough. So we can do a lot to prevent the heroin crisis. We can probably back up very many steps and do a lot as a group together.
Also about people not reporting it, I think from my experience of just reporting suspicious activity, they don't want to get in trouble. So they're going to turn a blind eye and say, I didn't see it, it's not happening, because they're afraid that since they were around it, they will also get in trouble.
Well, but the Alton Police has always had an anonymous tip hotline. You know, you talk about the texting. We don't have that in place, but we do have websites, and we have the altonpolice.com. You can send a message to us reporting a house that's on a certain street where kids are buying heroin. You know, at some point in time, you know, and this is a great forum for this, at some point in time, you kids as young adults have to stand up and take a stand. You're seeing your kids, your fellow students, dying. And at some point in time, you gotta put aside that, look, I'm afraid I'm going to be a snitch. I'm afraid that I'm going to be chastised. Take a stand, you're gonna be adults later in life, and do the right thing. That's all these adults are wanting you to do.
I didn't actually know about the ability to send messages through the website, and I'm sure not a whole lot of other students know that, so thank you for that information.
Yes,
We have a question. Angela.
It's not really a question, it's a comment, it's a projection. I do agree 100% that the students, there are house parties going on, and there are parents that are providing that drives me nuts. And the kids are afraid to snitch, and I would encourage you as a group, I know you're graduating, but the younger ones, put that on the agenda for coming fall. How can you as a student body encourage the students to not be so focused on somebody's going to get mad, I'm going to get in trouble, but that care and concern. You know there was an alcohol party that was recently that got busted. Not all of the students got arrested or they got in trouble. If you know that's going on and you're there, do something about it, because it's going to be, you're heading down a road, whether it's heroin, whether it's alcohol, whether it's pot. And so it's just like those heroin houses, but if you guys can brainstorm how to impact your student body, that it's not, I'm going to get in trouble, or it's not my image, but I'm helping somebody, I'm doing something. It's not a snitch.
It's easier than going to a funeral.
Yeah. Or having a nice little list of arrests when you're trying to get out of high school.
I think a lot of times the mindset is, oh, well, somebody else will do it.
That is also, yeah.
That's
I don't have to do it,
somebody
someone else will
will
take care of it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know
Gotta get past that.
Okay, are there any further questions, comments, concerns, burning desires?
Mel, did you announce our meeting schedule?
I have not.
That might be a good one.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. We will wrap up. We do have lunch provided in the back, and so we can mingle and talk and chat more about these issues over lunch. Our Drug-Free Alton Coalition meets the third Thursday of every month. It is an open meeting. We are really building a new board right now. We hope that people will join us at the coalition meeting. It is at Costelli's restaurant, and we typically network and meet from 12 to 12:30, and then from 12:30 to 1:30 we have our actual business meeting. So open to the community, please encourage others to come. Thank you, guys.
Now, have lunch.